Good evening, Pine Cliffs. I'm your host, Galen Good, and welcome to the Pine Cliffs Observer, watching them to keep you safe. Oh, listeners, I'm so excited about today's news. It's big news, listeners. Maybe the biggest news we've ever had in our fair little town. But before I get into that, I have an announcement to make. After more than a month of being missing, the owner of our station, Amelia Maller, has fired the old station manager, Thomas. Thomas, as you all know, has been missing since the 4th of July, and, he hasn't been able to come to work. The station manager position is now open, so if any of you want to apply for the job, just call Amelia Maller. Her phone number is on the billboard on the southbound road out of town. And that, listeners, segues nicely into today's breaking news. Last time we aired, we told you about roads leading out of Pine Cliffs. About how we have never had roads leading out of our little town. Well, listeners, I sent the station intern, Elza Talbot, to follow one of these roads, the eastbound road out of town, and see where it leads her. And listeners, it appears that we have a neighbor to the east. This is big news, listeners. Our little town was founded shortly after Mr. Eaton, our glorious former leader, came into power. It was founded as a sort of haven, a place away from the hubbub of city life. Everything was supposed to be more relaxed here, more isolated from the outside world. And so Pine Cliffs, we never had any roads leading out of town, much less any neighbors. The nearest city was, 1,000 miles away? Well, listeners, all that has changed. Now, Elza doesn't have any of the station's radio equipment with her. She doesn't own a car, and we don't know how far she'll have to go. So, we decided that instead of her carrying the equipment for who knows how long, she'd just text me when she gets there. And now, listeners, the traffic report. Most streets in Pine Cliffs are completely drivable again. There are a few back roads that are still blocked by debris, of course, but if you stick to the main roads, Pine Cliffs, you should be fine. Alright, now that traffic is finished, listeners, let's get back to the... Oh, damn it. Sorry, listeners, I was messing with some settings on my phone, and apparently I managed to turn off notifications. It looks like Elza texted me a few hours ago. She said that she's managed to hitch a ride with someone following the same eastbound road. It looks like they're heading for a town called Redwood. Just let me text her back. Thanks for telling me. Sorry, my phone is stupid. Who are you riding with, by the way? There we go. While I wait for a response, I will try to turn notifications on again. Wow. Okay, never mind then. Elza has texted me back. She says that she doesn't know the name of the man she's riding with. When she asked him, he just said Wanderer. And that's certainly not ominous at all. They laughed at my phone, and definitely not my inability to use it. Oh, listeners, this is it. The big news I promised you is coming in right now. Elza and the Wanderer have just entered Redwood. According to the sign at the city limits, it's about the same size as our little town, Pine Cliffs. Oh, another text. This is annoying. As soon as the show's over, I swear I'm going to figure out how to turn notifications back on. This phone is stupid. Anyways. It would appear, listeners, that Elza is listening to our little radio station. And this is odd, Pine Cliffs. Our little station has been in operation for as long as anyone can remember, and I've never heard of people too far outside our little town being able to listen. Maybe when the radio station finished regrowing those broken parts, it accidentally messed with our broadcast? I don't know, listeners. That's odd. Well then, it's time for this week's weather forecast. Sunday will be mostly cloudy with a 50% chance of rain in the afternoon. Temperatures are expected to reach the mid-70s. Sounds like a nice day, Pine Cliffs. Monday will be a cold, bitter day, as it always is. Temperatures are expected to reach roughly 25 degrees below zero. Make sure to wear plenty of layers and try to keep your pipes from bursting, Pine Cliffs. Tuesday through Friday will not have happened, no matter what we may remember of them. Saturday will be mostly cloudy, with a 75% chance of rain throughout the day. Temperatures are expected to reach the high 70s to low 80s. Sounds like a nice, rainy day, Pine Cliffs. This has been this week's weather forecast. With that out of the way, let's get back to the news, Pine Cliffs. Apparently, Elza texted me multiple times throughout the weather forecast. By the way, if anyone knows how to turn notifications on one of these phones, please come down to the station after today's broadcast and help me. This is getting ridiculous. Sorry, that was unprofessional of me. Back to the news. It sounds like Redwood is a bustling little town, Pine Cliffs. There is a hotel/casino towards the center of the town, the Redwood Resort and Casino. Apparently, it is large enough to rival similar institutions seen in Vegas, and it appears to be made entirely of wood. In slightly stranger news, listeners, and Elza just noticed this now, apparently there are no trees in Redwood. And that can't be right, can it, Pine Cliffs? I mean, what kind of people would name their town Redwood and just not have trees there? Elza, if you're listening, I need you to send a picture of this little town. It's nothing personal. I just can't believe there's no trees there. And don't worry, listeners, I remembered that I need to do this today. We'll be back after a word from today's sponsor. Are you missing something, listeners? Do you miss the warmth of someone in the bed next to you? Do you miss the faint imprint of heat that their hand would leave in yours? Are you missing something, listeners? Well then, try some ale from Pine Cliff's newest brewery, the Full Moon Fermentory. We know what ails you. Well, listeners, Elza has texted me back. She and her traveling companion, the Wanderer, have gone to the edge of town to take the picture. Elza says that they will be taking a picture at the sign on the edge of town. Apparently, there are several buildings visible from there and no trees in sight. And it sounds like, Pine Cliffs, the Wanderer will be in the picture as well. She says that he looks familiar somehow. Well, listeners, I guess we'll see what she means in a Well, there's the picture now, listeners. Let's see what all this no trees nonsense is about. Well, Elza, I must say you're certainly wrong. I see trees, many trees. How could you miss that, Elza? You might as well be in a forest. And there's the sign and... Elza, if you can hear me, get out of there now. Listeners, I'm looking at what must be the Wanderer. Eat and protect us all. What is he? Listeners, the Wanderer, whatever it is. It's humanoid in appearance, tall and thin. It almost looks like a strong wind could knock it down. It is wearing what appears to be a rusted metal mask over the top half of its face. Its mouth is gaping. There are so many teeth in that mouth, listeners. Too many teeth. It's wearing rags, torn, dirty, caked in filth. On its wrists I can make out chains, impossibly old. When did this thing come from? God. I hope Elza's alright. Oh, thank God. It seems I've gotten another text, listeners. It's from Elza. She says that she's alright. Before she sent me the picture, she noticed the Wanderer's appearance. While it was still standing by the sign, she managed to jump into its car and drive off. She thinks she'll be home in a couple hours. 3 or 4 maybe. I'm glad she's safe, listeners. I don't know what I'd do without our faithful intern. Especially now that Thomas is missing. And with that, listeners, I think I'll end the What was that? Listeners, something on my phone's screen moved. I left it open here on the desk. What happened? Have my notifications turned back on? No? No, not that. Listeners, the picture that Elza took of the Wanderer has changed. It is now holding up a piece of paper. What does it say? How do I zoom? No, not... Wait. Yes. There we go. The paper says, "Not yet, but soon, little ones. Soon." And it's signed with a single letter, a W. What? What? Where? Listeners, the Wanderer has vanished from the picture altogether. It's now nothing but dense forest. Well, this can't be good, Pine Cliffs. And I have so many questions. What is the Wanderer? What did that piece of paper mean? Could he be something that Mr. Eden used to protect us from? What's wrong with Redwood? I don't know the answers for any of these questions, Pine Cliffs. And, well, I don't think I'll get them tonight. And with that, I think I'll end the show. Elza will be here in a little while. Well, 3 or 4 hours anyways. And I'd like to have figured out how to turn my notifications back on before she gets here. Up next, 4 hours of silence, or so you will believe. This is Galen Good signing off. Until next time, Pine Cliffs. Until next time. This has been Pine Cliffs Radio, written and narrated by myself, Kuhullen96. If you haven't checked out Rainer Lewington, I recommend that you do. He wouldn't leave me alone until I started doing YouTube videos, so he's to blame. If you like this, for some reason, not that I'm judging you, why would I judge you? If you like this, please like, favorite, comment, subscribe. And, by the way, thanks for listening.